Hello, thank you for joining me for this real-time sketch of this really cute ice cream store that's located in New York City. And I haven't done anything in New York City, and a lovely follower sent me this image, and I got to give a shout out to Christine Duvall for sending me this great image, and we can all sketch it together. So all you need is some watercolor paper, a pencil to start. We're going to go in with some pens and some watercolor and a Uni Posca pen. So let's get started. I'll be sketching mine on a piece of Canson watercolor paper. It's 140 pound. And this booklet that I have is a 9 by 12, and I take the one sheet out and I'll cut it in half. So I like that kind of 6 by 8 size for most of my sketches. And I've got a couple more pages, a couple more sheets left in this book, and then once it's done, I probably won't be buying this paper again. I'm going to go to something a little bit better quality. But this was a good start. So if you're looking for some basic kind of student grade paper, you can only use one side of it. I made a mistake where I was sketching something straight with ink right away, and it didn't work out, and I flipped it over and I was sketching on the other side, but you can't because you can only use one side of this paper. There are some papers you could use both, but not this. So I probably won't be buying it again. I'm going to probably go to a 100% cotton and start working with that, because the better tools you have, the better your artwork turns out. So with this sketch here, I started off with the ice cream sign, and it's right in the center, so it's the best thing to kind of start off with, and then you can go up and down from there. And I put in the little lights, and now I'm putting in those windows, and then we'll go to the bottom. So once you get, if you can just take your time, get your pencil, initial pencil sketch in, everything flows really nicely from there. You except for that right there, that door, too short, but I'm going to come back in and lengthen that door and fix that. And that's the beauty about pencil, is I haven't committed into pen. And if you do, I've done sketches where I've gone straight in with pen, and if I make a mistake, I just keep pushing on. And you can cover that up a lot of times with your watercolor. So I've got the bottom part of the building in. I'm going to lightly sketch in that bench. And that's kind of just covering the very bottom of that window and pretty much filling in that bottom of the window. So it's about the same length, or width. Then there's a little ledge there, and it's got a couple little planters on it. And there's a little threshold for the doorway, and there's another little doorway behind there, and we'll get that in a little bit later. Another little planter on the other side, just a little square container with kind of a shrub. And the detail in this is just beautiful, with those windows, and you've got the string light, that beautiful brick. And I did crop it down. I'm not doing the sides where the graffiti is. or the other side where the steps were. This image was a little bit larger, and I cropped, even though it was gorgeous, but I just wanted it a little bit, a little simple, not so busy. But it has two stairways down on both sides of this building, and it's really, really nice. It's a nice image, but I wanted to just do just the store itself and not go into the other side buildings. So got the sketch all in with our pencil, and now I feel like it's got enough features in there. I'm confident enough now to go in with my Micron 01. I like to start off with the finer tip pens, the 005 or the 01. And this might even be a 005. I can't see right now which one I started with. They're pretty close. They're very similar. But then I like to, once I get all my watercolor paint done, then I go back in with a little bit bolder pen markings. The 03 or the 05 are my two choices. And it just gives the viewer a little bit, gives the painting a little bit more for the viewer's eye to just see the differences and not just one size mark throughout the whole. It's not as intriguing. There's a door that's open, and then there's like another interior door behind that, and it has the address on it. And that's this one right here. And I'm always looking to see what falls where, what meets up with what. And just take your time. Trust the process, because it starts out, and you may not be happy with it, but keep pushing on. And if you make any mistakes, don't worry. The watercolor paint will cover a lot of those little lines that maybe not where you wanted to put something, a particular line or whatnot, but it also makes it interesting when there's sometimes little mistakes. Now, I could see right there I didn't pay attention, because that bench, or actually the bench is fine. That little curb coming out is a little too far to the left, but see those things? It's not a big deal. These are fun, loose sketches. They're not supposed to be perfect. And I always say that when I make a mistake. I always find it so interesting how my eye can miss something and put it in the wrong place. And that's why we practice, because things start coming a little bit easier. I feel like my sketching has gotten so much better. I feel like I've gotten faster. I feel more confident, and I also just feel like I'm just seeing things differently, seeing what needs to be where, and it will come if you are practicing every day, or not every day. I'm a little neurotic. I kind of have to sketch every day. It's my goal right now to sketch one sketch a day, and sometimes I'll do two or three because they're small. But I want to thank Christine again for this great image. I think it ended up being my favorite sketch so far. And I love New York. I love it. I've been there a few times. My sister-in-law used to live there. She lived in Manhattan in the financial district, and then she moved up to, then Sandy hit. Her building got trashed from all the salt water and the wiring. So her building was shut down so she was homeless for a little bit and staying with friends, and then she ended up finding a place in Harlem, and it was very cool. It was a really beautiful apartment, and it had a lot of light. Sometimes she had a hard time finding an apartment that had a lot of light, and this one had a really big window, and when you looked out the window, you looked at this beautiful church directly across the street from her. And when it was lit up at night, all the stained glass would light up. She was very fortunate. But then COVID hit, and she decided to move back with family back to Illinois. And she is right now taking care of her mom, my mother-in-law. God bless her soul. She's given up her life to take care of mom, and I could cry right now because it's just so emotional. Oh gosh. Anyways, my on a lighter note, let's change it up because I get a little bit touched by how much she's giving of her life. And who wouldn't, though, for your parents? While she was still living in New York, in the Harlem area, it was 2016. We decided we would get married in Central Park, and I asked her if she would get ordained, and she did it like within 10 minutes. She went and did it, and it was so funny because she's like, done. And so we went to New York with family, and we just walked right into Central Park, and she performed the ceremony for us. And then we all went to Caravaggio for a lovely, lovely dinner. It was such a beautiful day. It was September, and it was it was actually a little too warm. So luckily we weren't out there too long. But my sister-in-law did a wonderful job, and we appreciate her so much for everything she does for our family. That is my little story about New York. And so now back to the sketch. Sorry about that. I just went off on a tangent, but I had to share. I just love New York. It's very exciting. Great place to go visit. So got that top window detail in. That was a little tricky for me, because it's like 3 layers of crown molding. And then the molding on the side here is really beautiful. So got my pencil back out to put in that lettering first, so I can make sure I get that all in really nice, spaced out, centered. This ice cream sign it makes the whole image. It's so bright and fun, and it's really fun to do because I'm going to put some shadowing and some highlights in it, and that's what makes it really pop and look 3D. That's my favorite thing to do with paintings and is get to the shadowing and the highlights. I'll go back in and just, now that I've got them spaced out, I'll go ahead and finish the actual letters themselves. And then I'll go over that with the Micron pen and just follow those pencil lines. And grab you the Micron 005, or no, 01. Either one. What if you have a 005 or the 01? Like I said earlier, they're pretty similar. And just go right over your pencil. These pens dry really nice and fast, so you don't have to worry when you go to erase the pencil mark underneath. I like to erase the pencil mark before I apply my watercolor. Sometimes I'll forget, and it's not a huge deal, but these pens dry really nice and fast, so you don't have to worry about smudging the ink. Going to get the last of these letters here, and then we're going to start breaking out our watercolor paints and brushes. I'm going to start off with a flat brush, and I'm going to start off on the top with that brick. So you want to mix up a nice kind of reddish brown. So I've got a number 6 flat brush, and I've mixed up some burnt umber and a burnt sienna with just a little bit of alizarin crimson, just to give us that kind of rusty reddish brick color. I'm going to paint the whole top area, the whole brick area solid, because I'm going to go ahead and use the Uni Pasca pen to put in the mortar to show the brick detail once we get to that part of the sketch. And we're going to do another coat of that to make it a little bit darker once it dries. So I'm going to do one more coat of that same color just to brighten it up a little bit, give it a little bit of a richer look. better. So much nicer that looks. And then I've got the color I'm using for the lower part of the building is a beautiful cobalt turquoise. I use this in a lot of my paintings. And I'm going to darken that up with a little bit of ultramarine just for that window or that doorway in the back there that's kind of in the shadows. And then I've got the same brush, and I mixed up a little bit of phthalo light green with a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. That'll be my lightest green. And then a little bit back to the same color on the top of the building. Just add a little bit more water for that walkway. Little Payne's gray, very lightly diluted with water. I forgot to put that bottom in there. One of my favorite colors. A little bit, one more coat on that. Make that nice and bright. And then some burnt umber for the brick and those planters. Payne's gray on the top. And then we'll go a little bit darker with the same Payne's gray, less water, less diluted, and put in that planter on the side there. I don't own a black watercolor paint. I think the Payne's gray is dark enough for me. If I wanted something really, really dark, I would just go in with one of my either alcohol-based markers or my Tombow markers for any really, really dark features. I've got 2 black markers for those types of details. Trying to put some shadowing in there. trying to blend that so it kind of just fades out. And then there's a little matte, little brownish matte. And then I'm going to use that same burnt umber, and I'm going to put that all around the wood trim of those windows. Still using the flat brush. And I'm going to go in with the Tombow marker for that, the dark shadowing on that top molding. So I'm back to the window with a little bit of Payne's Gray. Kind of trying to go around that lettering because we're going to put a yellow ochre into that Davey's sign. And a little bit darker shadow underneath that little bench. So I'm going to gut up the really fine tip 0-2, I believe that is. Get the finest tip brush you have to just put in those letters. It's amazing when you get to this point how flat it looks until you just keep pushing and putting in those little bit of details at the end, and then everything comes to life. So doing the inside of the Davey sign with the yellow ochre, like I mentioned. And then that bench is really weathered. So I'm just going to put some of the alizarin and crimson in there, and then we'll kind of take the uni Posca and just kind of go over that a little bit just to distress it. And put some bricks in with that same color from the top. This way you've got the same color in the top going to the bottom. Kind of harmonizes your painting a little bit. And then I'm going to put in that happy string light. And that's with the micron again. That is definitely the 005 because you want something really fine for that really tiny detail. So I'm going to put in some of the signage that's in the window, not all of it, just a little bit here and there. It's probably all their wonderful, looks like all their wonderful choices of ice cream, which I could go for right now. It feels like it's 1,000 degrees outside here in Florida. I was walking the dogs and I was just standing, and there's no breeze, and I was drenched. It's so humid. So it's an inside day. It's a good day to narrate and share some artwork with you guys. So this is the little open sign. And that's going to be it for just now. And now I'm grabbing that 01, and I'm just going to go over some of those lines because they get a little washed out from the watercolor being applied. So I like to brighten those back up. So this, I was looking online at this ice cream shop's website, and they deliver, let me see what it says. I've got it right here. Now shipping nationwide. So I'm thinking I might be ordering some ice cream later just to see what happens and see if they can deliver it to Florida without it melting. But they have great reviews. So if you are visiting New York, or you live in New York, or you're lucky enough to be able to go there, let me know how it is. It looks amazing. So I've got the N65, I believe, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of shadowing for those letters, just to really get those to look like they're popping off of that back of the sign. And these Tombos are nice. This is the brush side of the Tombow, and then there is another side that's a finer tip. And I'll put a link to these in the description underneath. It comes with, I think, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, like 10, I believe, 10 different shades of gray. And they really come in handy. They're not waterproof, so you want to make sure that you are done with watercolor. And then you can go ahead and add these. So I'm just putting a little bit of some type of detail, make those look interesting. You could even pop, I did not put any color in those. I just used gray and white, but I think if you pop a little bit of color into those little flyers in the window, I think that would be really, really a nice look. So I'm putting in the lighting, and then I'm going to let that dry, and I'll get the 005 out and outline that part of the light fixture. And this is where I said I was going to come in and kind of distress that bench a little bit. So I'm going to put some bricks in, or not bricks, excuse me, the mortar of the bricks, but give it that brick shape, and not the whole building. You can if you want. I'm just going to do hit or miss. I like to kind of keep it nice and loose and just give it a hint of what that is. It's a really nice, this is a really nice tool. And do that again on the little brick walkway. And there's some bricks on that side too. And then I'm going to put in that highlighting on the letters. We've got the shadow in, and now we'll put just a little bit of highlight. That's the best part. I love that. And get the micron out again to finish up those lights. And adding a little more detail to those little signs. And that little open sign was red, so I put a little bit of red in there, and then got the Tombow out to just put in some of that shadow into that molding. I'm at that point where I'm kind of going back and forth between different tools, so sorry about that, but it's like this needs that and that needs this, and I still need to put some darker green in those bushes, so that will be coming up too. There's just a lot of detail in here, and my eye keeps picking up this and that, and oh, I forgot this and I forgot that. So I put in a few little streaks into the window. And then I'm going to grab the 0.3 micron and just put a few bold lines. And going back to the finer point. So I'm going to finish off some of that molding on the side there. Outlining that bench. And I've grabbed the Tombow. I'm going to put in a little bit of depth into that doorway. A little shadowing underneath the sign. And now we'll pop in some sap green into those bushes. And we'll do some splatters. I've got that beautiful turquoise color, and then I'm going to do some green. I like to pull two colors out from the painting and put those two colors into the splatters. And just add a lot of water to the green that's on the palette. And I just tap it on my finger. And if you get like a big blotch, just grab a paper towel and blot it out like that. If you got something you don't care for, if it's in the wrong spot. But yeah, that's it. So Davey's ice cream, New York. I think after this is a wrap now, I'm going to go get some ice cream. My stomach was growling through some of this narrating, and I had to like pause it, cut it out, and then restart. It happened, I think, 3 times, and I feel like it's going to happen again right now. Oh my God, it's so funny. Oh, there it goes. Oh my gosh, I gotta go. I gotta get some ice cream. Hey, you guys, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope your sketch turned out amazing. You have any wonderful comments, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have subscribed, thank you so much. And if you haven't, please do so you don't miss any upcoming sketches. Have a wonderful day. Go get some ice cream. Bye. Bye for now.